Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Paper Crafting Saturday. I'm Leslie Watkins. I hope everybody's doing well today. I have a really fun project. I think it's going to be fun, and I'm going to be using some of my favorite things. And I think you'll see why in just a minute. So these are various retired stamp sets and dies. I've got the Garden Wishes, which features these wonderful dandelions. And I have Forever Fern. The reason I like this stamp set is because I love this sentiment. You can do this, and I love all things leafy and green. So this is an awesome set. The Forever Fern came with all of these wonderful foliage pieces. Now this is a retired set, but there are lots and lots of stamp sets out there that have all sorts of foliage and dies that will cut out wonderful flower and leaf shapes. So any of them will work. I just really like this one. Excuse the noise in the background. That boy has to go outside. I haven't had a chance to go out yet. And this one, thank you, Houdini. This one is the leaves and the flowers and some grass for the dandelions. People who have been around Stampin' Up! For a while may be familiar with the Statement of the Heart or Statement of My Heart. This was a stamp set that we got, I think it was for the 35th anniversary. And it says, to love what we do and share what we love as we help others enjoy creativity and worthwhile accomplishments. In this we make a difference. And one of the reasons I think that drew me to Stampin' Up! Initially was the Statement of My Heart, because this is how I have always felt about my instruction, my art, my watercolor classes, and all the things that I do, is I love to share it with people because I love it so much. And my work is largely nature-based. It celebrates nature. And I think that's something that everybody can relate to. And who doesn't enjoy a beautiful flower? And to be able to sit quietly and paint a flower is just a wonderful thing to do. And finally, I have this stamp set, Dandelion Wishes, and it features the seed heads of the dandelions, and it has these wonderful seeds blowing in the wind. And I really like this a lot. So I'll tell you a little story about Dandelion Cottage. When I moved to this town that I live in the northwest corner of Connecticut, I moved from New York. I had lived in New York City for a long time. I lived in the West Village, and I was always a country girl at heart, and I fell in love with this town because of the natural beauty and all of the nature and animals and everything here. It's just gorgeous. And I moved here, and I always felt like I was a dandelion seed that blew in, that I just blew in from out of town, and I set down a long taproot because I knew I was going to stay. I loved it so much. And I named my house Dandelion Cottage. As time has gone by, and I started my design team, I called it Dandelion Cottage Design Team because I wanted to get the idea of the dandelion in the name, because to me, when you blow the head of the dandelion and those seeds go off onto the wind and blow wherever they go, it's like seeds of inspiration. And it's my intention that the design and the videos and the ideas that my team and I put out there are seeds of inspiration to everybody else so that you can make beautiful things and have fun and enjoy nature. So that's kind of my basic philosophy in a nutshell. And today I thought I would use some of these stamps and some of these dies to create a page in my scrapbusting journal. Now the scrapbusting journal workshop is closed. The people who are in it are busy right now making their journals, and once they get their journals made, the next step is going to be to decorate them. So today what we're going to do is decorate a page in the journal. I've gone ahead and I've cut out a bunch of die cuts. So I have all these different leaves and flowers, and I used various colored scraps of greens and yellows that I had in my stash here. I pulled out this little envelope that has leaves and it has gold in it, so I'm sure we'll be able to use some of that. And then I have some extra flowers. I'm not sure if we'll use them, but I wanted to have them handy. So the first thing I want to do is cut out a base piece for the page. And I pulled out some of these pieces of retired DSP. You may remember them. And I like these because they have the kind of a green floral background. But I'm not sure how these colors are going to come together. So I think what I want to do is find an average green for maybe this one. I'm going to start here, and I'm also going to put a little border around it, I think. Okay, time to get the trimmer out. I'm going to cut my page down to, let's say, 5 by 8, I think, will be a good size. I'm going to measure this against the book in just a second, but I think off the top of my head that's going to work. The weather outside today is absolutely gorgeous, and the cats and everybody else is just going wild to get outside. So I'm going to try to keep this to be a shorter Saturday than usual, so I can let these critters outside and let them have some fun. Yeah, so that's a good base for my page, so I'm going to use that. And then let me just see what other colors I have here. I'm going to go to my stash for a minute. Let's see, I've got some soft succulent, I have some soft sea foam. I kind of like the way those things go together. I want to tone down the color a little bit. So I think I'm going to start with the soft succulent just to have a nice kind of a muted background to begin with. So let's get a scrap out of that. So again, it's going to be 5 by 8. Not everything has to be matchy-matchy. And sometimes when you're designing a piece, you want to be able to have something that's going to push a color in a certain direction, and I think this is going to work better. So I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to use this one, and let's see, does this have a direction? I don't think so. So I'm going to measure this at 4.5 by 7.5, and that's going to be my background. Now let me just check my settings, make sure everybody can hear me. There we go, and I see Emma and Kelly. Hi ladies, how are you today? I'm going to use this this pattern for the background. My idea is to create a kind of a clump of flowers with a lot of leaves and activity going on all around them. Okay, so there we go. Another way that you can mute your background, of course, is by using vellum. And at some point, I may decide to do something like that. But for the sake of this video and time, I'm just going to keep it simple. Now, while I have my support prepared, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch around the edges for a little added detail. So I'm just going to mute the sound on the video for just a moment. I'll be right back. And let's see. There we go. Okay, I'm back. So as you can see, I've got a little zigzag detail around the edge, and I'm happy with that. I'm going to clear a little space here so I can work better. And just want to see how some of these colors look together. Okay, so there is my wonderful assortment of greens and other colors. So that's the basic idea. And I'm going to have a main focal point, and for that, let's see if I can find my die cut. I have this little flower, and that kind of corresponds to this. So I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. Let's see what I've got. Got this green. Mossy Meadow. Alright, so let's get this stamp on here. There we go. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 of these. What the heck, we'll do 3. I'd rather be looking at it than looking for it, so I'll make a couple of extras. Beverly is here. She says she just ordered the decal dies and the white linen paper for journaling. Awesome. Beverly, everybody, the linen specialty paper is on the clearance, not on the clearance, it's on the last chance list at a wonderful price. If you don't have any linen paper, if you've never tried it, it's very unique, and it has a self-adhesive backing on it, and it's actual fabric, extremely fine fabric, and it's very, very useful for journal making. So if you don't have any, get it before it's gone. I will put a link below for all these different things that I'm mentioning today that are still available, so you can get them. All right, so there is my flower stamped. I'm going to go ahead and cut those out. I know I'm making a big mess here. It's kind of a controlled chaos. Bear with me. I'll clean it all up in just a minute. Now my plate needs to be flipped. There we go. What's everybody doing this weekend? Anything special? Beverly, are you going to be working on your journal? I hope. Can't wait to see what you do. Beverly shared the cover of her journal last night in the Zoom, and it is spectacular. So I'm so excited to see how she goes. All right, one more. I'm not doing a very good job at cutting these out because of the angle. So I'm going to stand up and see if I can see this better. All right, that should be plenty. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of sponging around the edges of my leaves here. This is like the crazy house. Pretty soon everybody's going to be outside. That's one of my jobs today, is get the coops all set up. The main coop, of course, is already set up, but I have these sort of summer coops. They're called chicken tractors, and they are smaller movable coops, and I use those when the hens get broody and they start sitting on their eggs. And once I decide who's going to be the broody mother of the year, she gets moved into the chicken tractor and starts raising her little family of chicks, and I will share pictures of that as time goes on. But it's just a little bit too early here because we still could have some freezing nights, although there aren't any in the near forecast, but it could happen. Okay. Let's see. See what we've got here. So I'm thinking something like that. All right, so we want some foliage for the background. So I'm going to begin laying on some of these die cuts that I've made. And I could be making a mess here. Let me get my craft sheet out. There we go. And just going to blot that a little bit. There we go. Got a darker one. I think you can see this. There's going to be a lot of texture on this one with all of these beautiful shapes. There we go. And then maybe this one over here. I'm paying attention to the outer edges because that's what's going to show. The middle portion is going to be pretty well covered with the flowers. And then I also have these really awesome leaf shapes. You know, years ago, and I'm talking hundreds of years ago, paper crafters used to do all of their own hand cutting, and they used to do these extremely elaborate images using paper cuts. It was very popular during Victorian times. And I just want to remind you that if you don't have a die to do a particular shape, get out your scissors and create something of your own. I'm just looking to see if I have some more of these grassy shapes all ready to go. And I think that might be it for the moment. All right, I'm going to get those started. Oh, here's some more. Okay, I have a nice assortment here. Oh, Beverly's working on her watercolor assignment. Yay. Bev's in the watercolor card club, and our next Zoom is coming up. And so she's working on getting something ready to bring to the Zoom with her. So, what is today? Today's the 15th? Oh, today's the 15th. It's the last day to subscribe to the Watercolor Card Club for this session, and it's a really good session. It's about how to get set up to paint your compositions. And if you're interested in joining us, it's a terrific group of people. And what we do is I send out a card kit each month, and there is a tutorial video, and I show you how to paint a different subject each month. And then we get together in a Zoom class where we look at all the paintings, and we talk about what can be done to make them better. We have a question and answer session. You can bring in, or post actually on our Facebook group, you can post pictures of other things that you've been working on, and we just have a really, really nice time. And we're getting ready for the summer season now, where we'll be able to go outside and do some painting in plein air. And so I've been presenting a number of lessons that will hopefully inspire you to get out there, get your watercolor kit together, and just sit on your porch, go to the park. You can paint from your car. You can go into the go to the zoo, wherever you like, and just start having fun keeping a sketchbook. And I'm going to show you how. So if that sounds interesting to you, check out the Watercolor Card Club, and you can do that on my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com, and I will also post all of the information below so you can learn more about it. But remember, today's the last day, and if you'd like to get information about my classes, workshops, and other events, don't forget to sign up for notes from Dandelion Cottage, because that is how I communicate with everybody. All right, well, I'm pretty happy with the way this is coming along now. Let me zoom you in a little bit so you can get a better look at that. I'm just going to put it sideways so you can see it better on the screen. Okay? And this is going to be the main, oops, let me zoom you back out again. There we go. This is going to be the main focal area, so I'm just kind of getting everything set up for that. Now I think what I'd like to do is put a little more, let's see, let's get my dandelions back out. How many of you are familiar with Albrecht Dürer and his watercolor of the clump of grass? I will post that after the show today to share that with you. I'm thinking about that in the back of my mind as inspiration. All right, so I think you need a little bit of variation in the shapes down below here. I'm going to take this piece and I'm just going to cut it and tear it apart. Albrecht Dürer lived in the early Renaissance, and he was amazing, absolutely amazing artist. One of my favorites. Very early 1500s. There we go. All right, now I also have these really nice dandelion leaves, and I'm going to be tucking those into particular places. So let's get those ready to go. Just sorting. I've got such a wonderful assortment of things to use here. Okay. I'm gonna put my flowers something like this. So I want one. I'm going to stagger the heights of them. So I think I like that. So I'm going to start with this one. And I'm just going to layer these things up. I think this would be a good time to give this a good burnishing, so I'm just going to flip it. There we go. All right, and then this one I'm actually going to pop up on dimensional, so I'm going to hold off on that for just a minute and start getting these yellow shapes for the inside of my flowers. So I'm going to start with a, let's see, I'm going to start with a darker one for this one back here. Now these little die cuts can be bent up to give it a little bit of dimension. I'm going to do that. And what I've done is I've cut the shapes out in 3 different tones of yellow. So I've got a light, medium, and dark. So I can help to give the impression of of more form. And then finally, let's see, got this bright yellow one. Just giving that a little bit of a bend. There we go. All right, so I think you get the idea of how this is coming together. I'll give you a close-up in just a second. Let me get this other one started. This one. There we go. All right, so here's what that looks like so far. I may put a butterfly or a dragonfly up there, maybe a dragonfly. I haven't used those for a while. Now this one, I'm going to use my dimensionals, if I can get my hands on them. Here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and use these pieces on the side for the leaves. Okay. I want to move that up a little bit. All right, and now I'm looking for a darker, I'll use this one, a brighter. And in fact, this one's even bigger. I'm going to use this larger one I have for this one in the foreground. There we go. So that's my basic composition. So that's the basic composition. Now what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this off camera, is I'm just going to fill in around the foot of the flowers with these beautiful leaves. I'm going to add a little gold accent, and then in the thumbnail I will show you how the finished project looks. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope I've given you some ideas and inspiration. If you are a member of the Something Old, Something New group and you have these retired sets, I would love to see what you do with them. So please post your images so that we can all enjoy them. Stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I'll see you next time.